Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. On this one, the VIC100 gets an engine. That don't look like no engine. And the passenger's door, well, that driver's door was a joke. Stick around. A lot of you guys are taking interest in that, in the Iceberg. It's a week here now. There is a couple of more over along here, and you can barely see one way out there. We have a few around the island this year. Some years we don't get none at all. And like you look up along the coast here yesterday, there was pans of ice. You know, something about the size of a pickup truck just floating around. I never got no video on none of that. But I figured this would have been moved yesterday. We had a lot of wind coming from this direction. I figured it would have pushed it out. So that has to be run aground where there's two there now. And that's probably where the pieces of ice came off of. When she was moving around on the ground, she broke off stuff and it floated up and it started floating around the bay. But the lobster traps are out now. It's lobster season starting. You can look around, you can see little red buoys. There's like, I think there's like 3 rows of them going right along the shore here. And every morning you hear the boats going, they coming up checking their traps. Well, I'm going to post a link to a video down below in the description of a aerial shot and a drone. There's a local guy here did a drone flyover on the Iceberg, so it's a beautiful video. So that'll be in the description below. Before we get started back on the VIC100, I want to go over a couple of things. One of the things, we had our swap meet this past weekend. That's an event I've been putting off here now. Oh, I'd say 6 years or more now, I'd say, and it's been going pretty good. I went out there this time with the whole intention to see if I can find some parts for the VIC100. I ended up finding some parts for Krusty. I did manage to find a set of headlights. These ones here, they're the halogen ones. Only paid $10 for them, so I needed headlights for the truck, so I said, there you go. I found a set of headlights. Sunday rolled around the next day, and we ended up, myself and Kevin, a good friend of mine, we ended up leaving 6 o'clock in the morning and going on a road trip. It was a foggy morning. We left here and made our way out across about a 3-hour drive out to Bonavista. It was foggy on the way out, and it was a decent old morning all the same. It wasn't cold or nothing like that. It was just a bit dreary and wet and stuff like that. When I first started this build a number of months ago, and I turned around, I run into all the issues with the motor and everything, because the motor in the original Crown Vic was blown up, and I managed to get my hands on another engine, but it was an older engine and everything was different on it. A local guy here in Newfoundland, Jeff, and he's from Bonavista, he had a 2011 Crown Vic that he had out there, and the transmission was gone, and he saw my article or seen the video on this here, and he said, you know, there's the right fellow to have that car. He contacted me and told me I could have the car, just got to come get it. I greatly appreciate it, Jeff. It was fantastic that you offered that, and we made our way out there that day. It was about a 3-hour drive. We wanted to get out and get back as quick as we possibly could. We never had no issues. We got to the car, we hooked onto the car, hauled it onto the trailer. I never even so much as tried to start it. I went to go try to start it, but she was missing a fuel piece off the engine, and it was spewing fuel out. It was no big deal. It was free, so there was a lot of parts on the car I could have used if it was a bad engine. So we ended up making our way back and making a day of it. We got back here around 2:30, I think it was when we got back here, and we unloaded it. And I left it and never bothered with it since. I've only now just starting to get back at it, so that's what I was at here today. I'm here now. This is Tuesday. I haven't even started on the truck yet, doing anything with the truck itself. I've been busy doing other things, so I'll show you what I've been up to. My good buddy Bob Madigan, that's the fellow who got the green Chevy 2 that you've seen on my channel a number of times. We built that car back in 06, I think it was. Anyway, he's putting the car on the road. This is the door off the car here. The driver's door had a Lexan window in it, Lexan quarter glass. It was all chopped out. This is the piece that was chopped out of it. What I ended up doing, he gave me another door. I cut the center out of it. And I turned around and I welded the center into the actual car itself, so I can put all the window regulators and latches and all that type of stuff, put the original glass back in it, and the vent window. That's what I was at yesterday, trying to get that glued up. I pretty well just got to put it back together there now. And that hobble's done. Now to take you on to what I was at today. There she is, in her glory. Look at her, she's lovely. This one here was an RCMP car. She's got, you can still see some of the stickers on her, the back. She's got the RCMP colours on the back of her, or the bar across the back of it. That was usually on the RCMP cars. This car here, the body on this one here was not as good a shape as the one that I had. And chassis and everything's solid. Floors are still in it. All that looks pretty decent. I got to get it out of my head to get another idea in my head to go build another Crown Vic build. But the problems I had with this here, when I got it home, is I fooled around with it and I could get no power to the key. I turned the key on, everything lit up in the dash. There'd be nothing. There'd be no clicking of the start or nothing. Just turned the key forward and was absolutely nothing. So I started to notice that when I was taking this out of gear, the shifter lever was right easy. So after I looked at it some more, I realized that the shifter cable wasn't even hooked up. So I ended up jacking it up and getting down underneath it and realizing the shifter cable was cut off. So I put it back in park. Still no power to the key. So I ended up then taking the neutral safety switch off the side of the transmission, playing with that for a while. Couldn't figure that out. That wasn't working right. Went in and got the neutral safety switch off the other engine in there. Come out, put that on this here, still nothing. I just got that hanging down underneath the car and I plugged in and put in the neutral position. So then I started chasing everything down power wise, and I got up here and I figured I'm going to try to cross over the starter and just start it manually. So I got down underneath it, found the starter wire, came up here, touched off the battery, absolutely nothing. Starter was dead. So then I went in here, figured, well, that's no big deal. I got starters here. I goes over here to the backup motor that's over there, and that one, there's no starter on it. So I said, okay, I'll come over here to this engine over here and I'll take the starter off of this one. So I started to take the starter off of this one and I spun the nut on the cable here, that nut there. I spun that around the side of it, so I ruined the friggin' starter on it. So I said, oh, that's it. I said, I'm going to be using it, hopefully. And I ended up then going out, and I think it was $180. I bought a new starter, put a new starter on her. And I had to boost it earlier. I do have a transmission leak. Yeah, peanuts. So it's been everything. There she is, purring like a kitten. 80,000 kilometers on it. I think it says 80. It's written on the odometer there. Oh, 88,000. 88,000 kilometers on it. Almost 90k on it, so low mileage. Purrs, no smoke. Not coming out the back of her. I can't go leaving that running too long because she's dumping transmission fluid out of her. But that's her. I got her all straightened away. Down underneath her, she dumped fluid out of her there on the board. No idea what I'm going to do with the rest of it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I do know that I do need more sheet metal, so maybe she'll get donations from that. If I need any metal, I'll just come out and take it off of this. But I'm going to leave this alone for now. Transmission's gone on this, but the motor's good, and I got to use my transmission, and I'm having that transmission taken apart and gone through. I just assume have that done and to be safe about it. And so, and I got to look at this here. I think this one here, the condenser and the radiator and everything is good, and this one here, the condenser is, because the one that was in the other Crown Vic was bad. Power steering lines are pretty crusty on this one as well, so I said no, so I'm going to have to order power steering lines. But there's a lot of interesting little trinkets on this I could probably save and use for backups. I got spares of everything now for this. I'm just going to turn around, and I got enough wheels now to do lots of experimenting with, because I want to play around with some wheel ideas. But that's where we're to with everything here now. I got this straightened away, got this brought home, and got it running. So I'm happy with that. I haven't got to worry about it now. All I got to do is when it comes time to pull the motor out of it, it's ready to go. So now we can turn around and get started back on this one in here, back on the truck. I don't know how much I'm going to get done on this now, next couple of days, but the big thing with this one here, I got to do the same thing with this one here to finish off the front of the truck, all the sheet metal, and well, the doors and fenders and hood and everything, is I got to do the bottom of this door here, and I got to do this section up here. This one here is straightforward, simple. I may have a hole here, I may have a little patch in it there. I got to strip apart the door, but this one down here is not the same as the other side. This one here, everything is gone. The inside section, everything is all gone. So we're going to dig into that one. This one here is more elaborate than the other side. We got to build all the inner structure going along here on the bottom where it comes down, steps down for the actual skin to mount to. And we got to build both corners, I'm pretty sure. And so that is going to be an interesting one. It'll be different than the other one, so I'll take you along on that one there. Now, why did that rust? There's no rust on this truck. So I ended up taking that apart, and I never exactly what you call took it apart the right way, because on the vent window, this here is supposed to unscrew. You should unscrew that there, and I think it was seized in there, was an Allen key in it. You unbolt this here and take it out of it before you remove the vent window, because it won't fit up between this channel with the nut on the end of it. The window came out, the entire back channel is gone, or the lower channel is gone, right here. It's totally rusted off it. So I got to make something for that, and I'll use the other window as a template. You can see it over here. The way that is, I'll make something up. The seal is still there. That's still good by the looks of it on the window. The way these work, pretty well all old cars are like it. The glass itself is the last piece to come out of the door, really. I was lucky enough that the bottom of the door was rotted out, so it dropped out the bottom. But usually what you do is you let everything go and you drop the glass down inside the door, and you let it just rest in the bottom of the door. Then you remove the vent window and all the seals and everything, and then you bring the glass up through here and then tip it in and then bring it out that way. You know, that's what I'm saying. I cheated here because I knew there was rusty holes back here and down there. But I got it all apart. I knew about this. I seen this a few weeks ago. So I got an idea. I'm just going to make my own on that there. I have repairs to do to this glass here, and I got repairs to do to the vent window on the other side. The biggest thing I got to watch here now is that I can't go getting too far ahead on this project and let all this stuff just sit around, because I'm going to lose and everything. So I'm going to get everything welded up on the cab forward, and then when the cab forward is done, I'm going to get all this here done and put back inside the doors. I don't want to go leaving it out. I'm not going bagging it up and putting it away. The worst thing about this project here is I'm taking stuff apart and I'm not putting stuff together. And the more you take it apart, the longer the project's going to be. And I want to put this together and have it done. So I'm going to do the repairs that got to be done to the windows and then put them back in the doors before I moves on to do the box. But now that I got that done, I'm not going to bore you. Oh yes, one more thing I done. Up here, there's screws that go down through here that are screwed on. Now, sometimes you try to break them free and they've been sat in there for years. I use an old trick we used to do for taking wheel opening moldings off of taxis when we were doing painting cars. You take a chisel and put it against the head of the screw and tap it. Doesn't matter what way, just tap it sideways, one way or the other. All you're doing is loosening up the actual screw itself, and then you can unscrew it. It's just a simple little trick, just tapping the side of it. Like tapping it down doesn't seem to work as good as tapping it from side to side. Like that, because you're actually moving the screw in the hole itself. Tapping it this way here, you're not going nowhere with it because it's already bottomed out. So that was just a quick little tip there, how I used to get them off. I try to take them off freehand first, and if they don't, I'll tap them with a chisel right on the edge of the screw. All right, let's get this door cleaned up and get that bottom, everything on that bottom of that door cut off, cleaned up. And I'm not going to bore you with that. I'll get this all cleaned up, cut off, and chopped off, and everything that got to be grinded up. Let's start up here. I figured as much. There's actual holes in that, so I got to make this section here. I got to make a new section for there. Minor, that is minor. But I'm telling you, this truck is strange. How this truck rusted, very strange. Down here, all this is best kind. Under some investigations, I've come to learn that there's a bit of welding there, and a bit of welding there, and a bit of welding there, and a bit of welding there. So this tells me this had that mirror on it that came down, tipped this here, and had that oval-shaped mirror that was on it. That was on this at one point. I'm not putting them on it. I want to have the small mirrors on it. Over here, we got the corner gone. I noticed that inside piece is missing. It's not even there, so I got to make that little lip that goes on the inside that welds on. I got to make that, so that's not even there. This is going to be a repeat of the other side. And then I come down here. There was a lot of filler around the keyhole cover. You can see the layers of it there, look. And I'm curious how thick that is. Just hang on. You can actually see down through there. See where my fingers to. That tapers off from the filler, and it don't even rest on the actual lock cylinder. I'm going to have to cut this back with filler. I'm going to have to pull this out a small bit. I'm not digging into it again, because I'm going to tell you, the filler work's been done on this here. Really good job done on it. On the filler work on this here. The whole truck is full of filler. Everywhere he looks, filler. Filler. Where's the two up there? Well, there was filler there. I grinded it all off. Right. Now, let's get into the fun part. Oh, over here I got one more piece. This here was a rust blister, so I went ahead and cut it out. Again, more filler. I'm going to weld a small piece in there. Now we're getting into the fun spot down here on the bottom. Down here, this is what we're left with. I got everything cut out of it that is no good. That's the easy way to put it. I can weld everything else. There's absolutely no lip on the bottom side of this door. Now, you open it up and you can look. There's absolutely no bottom in that door. All the way along there. This is strange. That's perfect. The other side, that was gone, and the rest of the door was good on the other side. And this one here, all this corner here is perfect. Haven't got to do nothing with that corner. So strange, unreal. But she's always gone all down along here. This entire corner was pretty well disintegrated. I managed to save one piece of the lower lip. This went this way here like so. That's the way that went. And that's the shape that I got to bend it up. And you can see that it goes off on a lip on this top side here. And all I'm going to do is an overlap up here and weld it in along here, and then come down around here and put the bottom in. And then I'm going to build this corner here. And the outside is much the same. Over here I got this corner gone. Now right off the bat you would think because this corner's gone, let's replace all that too. This is solid. I'm not going getting up into this section here welding it. I got good metal here, same as the other side. So I'm just going to put a small piece in over here and have that done and bring that down past the lip. And then I'm just going to put a regular bottom in it all the way along. It just makes life a lot easier. When you start getting up higher, it just means like each time, the higher up the door you goes, the more filler work you're involved with. And I always like trying to end in a crease. Now I could probably end in here and cut it off in here, but I'm trying to avoid getting into anything of that, because if I get into that there, then I'm up to here with the clearing filler off it, and then I'm into that whole entire panel. And like, that is a really good panel. I know it's filled, but still, there's nothing on it. There's no blisters, no bubbles, nothing like that. It's a nice, smooth panel. So where I'm going to start to first, I'm going to start up on the top. We'll do all the top section up here. Do all this first. I'm going to make the pieces for that, get that all done, and then save the best for last. The best for last. Yes, bye, Tony. She's mint. Go buy a door for God's sakes. But look at the challenge we have here now. You know, it's just like anybody can bolt the door on. We can repair them. All right, Tony. At least someone believes that. So I got the measurement figured out. I measured it up. I'm going to take a little bit extra, 11 inches. And I need about 1.5 inches, because I only need 1 inch on the outside, and then I'm going to bend the lip on it. So I'm going to cut this piece out now and clean it up. Got the piece of metal all cleaned up. I'm just going to take it over here now, put it in here. You notice this is all different widths and everything like that. All I'm concerned about is having it long enough. This here is more than enough, and so I got to trim it off anyway, so I'm not worried about double trimming it. So all I'm going to do here now is put this in here and put a lip on it. Well, it'd be a very big one on this one. But I got that there, and I'll trim that off. Now, some people might say, why don't you just bend over the little tiny lip? I'm getting a nicer, crisper edge by bending a larger lip on it. And so now I'll come in here and I'll trim this off along here, then I can work it and shape it. While I was at it, I measured up for the bottom piece on the bottom corner door, and I cleaned up a piece and I bent that up as well, so I got 2 of them ready to go. So now I can start trimming this one up and shaping it. I've been back and forth a few times. You saw my first initial bend. I turned around and come over and test fit it then, and then start going back and forth, dollying it, fitting it, dollying it, fitting it. I got it there where I'm happy with it. It rolls up along the edge there, and I got it so that it actually tucks in behind the panel, because that's all this one does. And you can see it in there now. I'm going to come up here now, and you can see this rolled edge here. I'm going to come out to about here, mark it, and cut that off right along there, so then I can have a little edge there to roll. I'll mark it here, mark it down there. I'm going to put all that in there, and I ain't going to trim it off, I don't think, because she is a bit thin back here. I'll size it up when I takes it off, and I'll turn around and I can be able to work it. This corner will be the tricky one to work right here in this section here, so it's going to take a bit of work here. But what I'll end up doing is I'll end up welding all this up here and down here first, and then just take my time rolling that edge there. So I'll go ahead now and get this marked and get it trimmed up. So I got it all trimmed up, and it's ready to go. Then I come up here, and I trimmed it back here, and then cut it off up along here, trimmed it back here. So this here will actually fit up inside there now and line up like so. And I left a portion of this here. There's a bit of a blister there, or rust hole or whatever there, and up along here. I want to save this here and use this as my buck, because I'm going to overlap all this up here, and I'm going to roll over the edge here, take my time. But I'm just going to concentrate right now on getting it welded here, and then getting it welded here, and then I'm going to tack weld the actual drip rail. I'm going to weld that onto the inner lip here, because this here was supposed to go up and weld onto the part of the door frame. So, but I'm going to use this here to do it, and I'm going to weld that in there, and then I can start shaping from this end here. This corner is going to be tricky, but I'm going to concentrate on getting this much of it done first, and probably down here, and then I'll work this corner. You can see the way I just hammered it around, rolled the edge on it, just took my time. I had to weld it up here, weld it down here to hold it in place. And I always find that, you know, when you're working metal like this here, like I work my way across and start welding across here, come down here, weld this, and then just slowly work this into shape, right? But I got the shape I'm after. I'm gonna go ahead now and finish welding that up. You can see the way that there rolls around the edge there. I'll weld all that up now, grind that all up, and that piece will be done. Look at that, look. Lucky I left as long as I did. She was a bit thin there, but I got her. I found some metal. I just kept welding until I found metal. I hear that day now. It's an absolutely beautiful day here, but the wind is blowing a gale, and I had to close the door here in order to weld that up because it's blowing the gas away. Anyway, get that all grinded up there now. Brand new. See it on the inside here. I welded it all up along there. A few tacks, left it. A little bit of low spot there, I'm not worried about it. There's a little bit of a dip in it here, and you can see the two spots where the actual mirror used to be. They're fine. Put that there, not a little smear over that, smear over that. But this edge here is nice, and this edge here is nice, so that's all that matters. Now, I'll get started on this one here. I got it marked. I got to trim that off there now, so that I can actually start shaping that to roll up around there. So I'm here now and I got the piece all bent up. You see me there, just manually bend it. You can usually manipulate them little corners like that. I come over then and I flatten it out because they got a tendency to roll back on you or roll out. So then you got to just come back and then flatten them out and go test fit it again, make sure everything's all right. Now on the other side there was a piece that ran up along here on the inside. And this is what I got done. I come over here and I laid this in place here. And I marked it. And I'm going to cut this out now, and I'm going to fit this in here. I'm going to put a bit of a roll edge on it so I can weld it on in here. And then I'll just trim it off out here and make it look like the same as the other side. So all I did is I trimmed it up so that it fit in there like so. What I'll do now is I'll put a roll edge on this here now just to give it some strength. And then have it so I can actually tack weld it on it along here. And I can probably put a plug weld or something right here and weld it on. Or I just weld it on the back side here. And then that piece will be ready to go. I just rolled over the edge of it with the tin snips. I got the vise opened up a small bit, so this can just barely fit in there, and I'm just going to shape it over the vise. Again, I'm using the proper body hammer for it. Yeah. There we go. All I'll do now is I'll clamp that on there, trim that up a small bit on the ends there, on this end here, and I'll tack weld that on in there, and then I'll come out here and I'll cut this off and shape it. And there it is. I grinded it all up. Used 24 grit on that there and just shaped it with that there till I got was happy. Then I come over here and then I start cutting and fitting and cutting and fitting, trying to get this here to fit in place here. So I got it to butt weld up here and I got it to butt weld down here, and it's on a bit of an angle. Now this one here I got a bit of an issue because I'm gone out around the corner here with this section's bad here, but I'm going to see if I can use this to do it. And I'm just going to go ahead now, get this welded up on the top there. It's pretty dark here, but I had to close the door to keep the gas off everything. It's pretty windy here. And I'm going to go ahead now and tack weld that and start fitting that in place. So I got it all welded in place. I lined up my edges here, and I welded them. Around this side, you can see where I welded it down there. Then I come up here and I welded it on the inside here, a couple of spots. Then I welded across top here. So now I'm in a position now we're gonna start trimming this to fit. I gotta trim off some of this now. It's very hard. The wider this is, the harder it is gonna roll. So I gotta trim this off as I'm going. I might put a cut in it here because I want to save some of this here because I gotta roll it around the edge. Because out here, I got a problem right here. This has gone too far. This is worse than the other side. So I like to leave this out here a bit so that I can actually fold it around this section here. But down here, I'm fine. I just need a little small bit down here, not as much as up here. So I'm gonna go ahead now and get this all trimmed up and start shaping it. All I'm doing here is I'm working my way around. All this is still hanging up and it's all out. I got the corner welded up here and I welded up the corner here and then I start working my way across here. I'm going to come across here, trim so much of it, tap it down, weld it, and just keep working my way around it that way there. I'm trying to fill in this spot here with a piece of metal there. That's the reason why it's still long right here. And so I'm just going to continue on. I get this all trimmed up and tap it in. All I'm using is the ball peen hammer to stretch it. You can see how much that's all stretched there now. So I'll go ahead now and get this thing finished up. Buddy, look at that. Wrigley Spearmint Gum, look. Bubble gum in its finest. Lots of penetration there. I've done a lot of heat there. A couple of spots I broke through and it was thin there and it was thin right here. But I got the most of it there now. I just got to clean all it up. And that'll be brand new, sure boy. Looking across that, got the nice flow to it. Look at it this way here. Same distance all the way down here. And this here flows down, rolls around the edge. Still hot, Tony. Don't touch. I'll get that all grinded up there now. That's mint! Hole be gone. Corner be gone. Anyway, I got that all done. You can see now looking across it. Shape is all there. Okay. She's got a nice crisp line going down through here. And over here. She's got a nice crisp line going up through there. You can see like where it goes from a butt joint out to a lap joint out there, right? Same with down here, there's a butt joint there and it goes out to a lap joint there. So I'm pleased with that. A little bit of mud on that now, smish, and then sand it up and brand new. All right. So that's it for the top of the door. We got two of them done. I gotta do this piece here next. It's only a simple little, I'm gonna do make a little piece now that fits right in there perfect, and do a full-on butt weld onto that one. So now I got one more spot to do before I do this. I forgot about it. How to make a brace for this and get that welded in there. And all grinded off, brand new. That's done. Let's get into it. So here we are now. We're down here facing this mess. So what are the steps here do you go here now? What are you trying to figure out? You got to make an outside skin. You got to make an inner lip. And you got to make a corner. And you got to, you're going to make the inner lip and the corner all in one. And you're going to make the skin first and then fit the lip to it, whatnot. Well, the first thing you do is you leave the door on the truck. You don't take it off and lay it on the bench. That's priority number one, because this rocker panel is what we're going by in this shape here to make this work. Now, the bottom here has to be made, and this corner over here has to be made. Let's not worry about the corner. Let's take her from here all the way over to here, and we'll make a piece to go along there. This is what I got. This is the shape that I needs. I needs this about 32 inches wide, and I needs about another inch or more on the top side here. And this is the way this used to sit, like so. And that's the way that was there, like that. So let's start off now with just making the middle section. Not worry about nothing else. The skin can come after. I wants to make sure that I got a distance down here off the rocker. I'm not out too far here. I'm not down too low. So I'm gonna go over and get a piece of metal now, cut off 32 inches. I'm gonna measure this here down here. And I'm going to add another an inch and a half or two the overall width, because I need enough to grab into brake. So go over and get something made up. So I got that door skin that I had earlier, front door off the Crown Vic, and I measured it up. I took some measurements of this here, measured up along here, and to give me an extra bit, it was about 3 inches, and this is 32 inches, so I'm going to cut this out and get this piece cleaned up. So I'm here now, and I got that all cleaned up, and I'm ready to start putting some marks and everything in it for the bends. So I went over, and what I went and did is I made a little template and just checked everything out, and it seems like all the distances on this here are all the same. So when you look at this from this side here, this one here is just as high, and this one here, all of them got the bend is the same length. So I'm going to go over here on the side and start on this end here now, and put a little dimple right here next to that, and move up there and put the 3 of them there, so that I can flip the panel over, and the marks are there. And it'll be the same on both sides, so that way when I goes to put a bend, I haven't got to measure nothing. The marks are already there for me to line up to. So I'll get this done here now. So all I did is I marked it. You can see the 3 little dimples there, done with the sledgehammer and the actual old punch I got here. And when you flip it over, you can see the 3 of them on this side as well. So, because I got to keep flipping this over, and I just want to have the same marks on the same side each time. I got the other side done. Get this bent up. Don't know what I was thinking there. I went way too far on the last bend. But the rest of it, I got to straighten up this one here now after a pound on the bit. I got to flatten it out a small bit. But that's no big deal. And then I'll go over, I got to see how much of this here I can save and trim off. And I got to work on, starting from this end here, I got to cut, split this here so it all blends into the existing part of the door. So I got the piece all straightened away here now. I'm over here now sizing up where I'm going to end it to. And over here, this here goes to a point here. So this fades out into the end of this here. So I got to find out where I'm going to put this to start fading it back into the other thing. And over on this end here, then I got to find out the overall length. Now, I'd assume have a piece too long, then just have too short. This starts to roll up right here, starts to turn up. So I'm going to cut it and end it here. Then I'm going to make all this separate. So I'm going to go from there to about right here, I think I am. And then from here I'm going to taper off. So I'll figure out what that measurement is now, and I'll cut this off. And I'm also going to trim off this upper lip here as well. I'm going to cut so much of this off. I don't need all of it. I'm probably going to leave about this much there, because I've left this much here so I can actually put it in the brake. That's a mistake I've made before. If I cut it to perfect length, she won't take a ½ inch bend. I got to take it over an inch. So I'm here now, and I got this all trimmed up. And I played around with this end of it here. I got it tapered back because this here tapers away here. So I got this set up to go right here like this. And then there's going to be a small piece put there to join the two of them together. And then back here I had to make the back piece. But what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to clamp that placed there now. And just on the inside there, I'm going to weld it on. So I'll go ahead now, get this piece welded in place. But before I does that, I got to remember to put some drain holes in this, so I'm going to drill some holes in this now for drain holes for the bottom of the door. So I went ahead and I welded that in there. That's just a lap joint in there and a solid welded. I went along, tacked it along there. All I was concerned with is that when you look down here, over here I had something to go by. When you look here, you see this here? You see this distance here? That you can see the rocker and you can see here? I'm using that. So when you look across here, you'll see it's all the same going across here because where the rockers are designed on these. So I got all that straight away and welded up there. The gap down here now, it's a little bit up and down, a small bit tight here and there. I'll trim that after the fact and dolly it up or whatever and get that straight away. But all I was concerned about was getting it out far enough. Over here now I have this piece here I'm going to start with. I've after dollying this corner here in, now bringing this in because this whole corner is different. It starts to change and I want to taper it out to meet this one here. So I had to change the dolly and change the angle of this one here in order to get it. So this here is a little bit long now. I got to trim it off after the fact, but I'm not worried about that. I got to do a transition now from here to here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a piece of metal like this here. Turn it over and put it in there, right? After trimming it up, that's going to go in there. And I'm going to weld that on there. And then I'm just going to start shaping it and welding it as I go. I'm not going to turn around trying to make that whole piece and bend all the bends in it. I'm going to weld it, bend it, weld it, bend it, weld it, bend it, cut it off. So there you go. I cleaned it all up with the grinder. Went in here and run the stone over this here. Just knocked the heads off everything. But you can see how I made that. I make a lot of pieces like that. I take my time. I just, it's a lot easier just to shape it as you're going. Start off with a big piece and fold it around and it gets a nice edge. You got lots of material there to cut off. So that's all straightened away there now. You're looking across there. Nice edge along there. So now all that corner's done, everything's done over to here. Now we just got to be concerned about this area over here. So I'm going to start building this here now. This transition here. This transition here is this transition here. So I got to put a small piece in there. Transition. This one here will come up here like this here. And then there'll be the one on the outside like this here. Now there's some fancy shapes and everything on the inside of this. Oh, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to get into it. I think there's a big V that goes right here like this. Maybe I'll have to put it in it. I don't know. But I think because of what I'm building here, I'm just trying to make this look presentable looking on the outside. I'll clean it up afterwards on the inside. What does this look like on the inside? That's what you got going across there. I'm going to have to clean all that up after the fact. But there's my bottom of my door again. There's a bit of paint and everything there hanging off. You run the grinder over that. That'll be clean. I'm not concerned about inside the doors right now because my plan with this now, the more I think about it, I'm going to rough in the bodywork here, smooth it out, and put a coat of primer on the whole car, the whole truck, just for the summer. Because I want to get this on the road and I don't want to spend weeks trying to get this bodywork done. I have plans of painting this the winter. What my plans are in terms of paint, I'm not quite sure yet. It will be red. Whatever it's going to be is going to be red. I can tell you that. Not change the color on it. I have a thing for red trucks. So it'll be staying red, but whether it's going to be a shiny red or what. But the primer that I got to go on it is that Interseal 670HS and it's red. So the truck is going to be red for the summer. It's going to have a satin finish to it. And it's going to be a little bit crude and rough. But I got to put something on it. There's too much filler on this here to fool around with doing heavy bodywork on it. I'm going to fill everything, buzz it off with a few stickets, and then whatever it is, just make sure it's not blocked with pinholes, and I'm going to bail primer on for the summer. And that'll be it. Because I have a lot more work to do to this truck, than worrying about a finished paint job on it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll get started on getting that piece welded in. Doesn't that look just lovely? A couple of pieces, one piece in there, another piece in here. On the inside the door, I'm not too concerned about welding and what it looks like, as long as it doesn't interfere with nothing. I trimmed back this piece so the plane coming down through here does not interfere with it. Where I am concerned with is this in here looks right. This is what I want to look presentable looking in here. This section going down along here, transitioning from the bottom of the door up to here. That's what I'm looking into. Now over here, I got a piece that comes over, steps over, and comes down. Now this here will go down and go around the corner of the door. I'm going to turn around, I'm going to build this whole piece in one and use the vise and a chisel to put this indent right down through here and along here so I can fit it in place there. And then I'll weld it in along here and along the top here and along here, and then I'll trim it off. But yeah, one piece at a time. So I got to cut out a piece now that's big enough to fit there. Now one thing I want to point out here, which is going to make this life a lot easier, is that this corner here in the truck is a right angle. So everything I do will be on a right angle piece, so I can actually go according to that and keep it pretty well close to where it got to be. So I'm going to go over now and cut out a piece to make for that. This is where we're going to start. I got that here marked off in a right angle. I'll cut that out, clean that up, and I'll start making the actual relief that got to be in here. Now when you look here, you can see there's a step going around here. Now this one here has a cutout for molding. I'm not going to worry about it. But the step runs along here, comes up here, and it's like it's stepped in. And of course I got this indent here. I'm probably going to end up putting that in anyway, for the sake of trying to make a nice piece. But this is what I'm going to turn around and try to duplicate here now, is this section right here. And all I'm going to use is a technique that I used over here. I was going to hammer form it, but I changed my mind. The way I bent this up, I'm going to bend that up. I only need probably 1/8 of an inch or so on the actual roll. So I'll just take that note now and go over and bend something up. I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to give myself a bit extra. I can trim it off after, because I got lots of metal there. Get the proper body hammer. A lot of body men are saying, "What is he at it all?" Now that I got the piece made, when you look at it from the back side, you can actually see the actual relief in it. Now I'll dolly up this corner here and make this look right nice on this corner, but I got the relief in there that I'm after. But as you can see, I just made the two bends, I overlapped them. I'll dolly this corner here now, get this here straightened away. I got my little bit of I-beam out, straighten this up. Usually doesn't take much. So there I got my little panel done, I got my little corner figured out. Now I'm going to work on getting that little relief in it. I'm probably going to go over and cut this off first and get it where I'm getting close where it needs to be. I got it marked out, went over and marked it, and this is still too big, but I get rid of a lot of what's there so I can start working this piece here. So here's what I got. I come over, trimmed it, fit it, trim it. I had to put a bit of a curvature in it. Just went over and laid it in the round section of the vise and tapped down it along here, because I had to get this to curve as well. And I come over here then, I trimmed up this section down here to make it fit. And I got this set up here now, so this will actually butt on the top side here. I got to shape it in here to weld it on, and then do the same thing down there. But as you can see, it's too wide up here on the lip. So I got lots here that I can trim off. I'm going to line up the actual relief right here on the actual bend. I'm going to line up that section right here on this one here. Weld that on there, weld down the corner, and then start shaping it and weld it all on. Don't that look lovely? See, nice wide gap here. Lots of metal there. The bottom seems to be pretty good. I got to trim off some of the bottom as well. But see, you got to realize you're welding on the inside here. This is the inside. Once this is all painted, the skin goes on it. You don't see none of it. So I'm never concerned about what this looks like in here. I don't even worry about it. I only grind off anything that's going to interfere with the outer skin. All this in here adds strength to the actual piece itself. Now in here is where it's going to be crucial too. You know, I got this all welded up in here now, and I have to weld up a couple other spots again on it now. I got to grind and dress all this. This is what I want to look good. Now this did have a relief coming down this way here on an angle. I'm on two minds whether I'm going to bother to even put it on there or not, because it's just it makes it look original, but I'm not too concerned about this looking original. And it's just more work for me. All I would have done here is I would have took a triangle piece of metal and would have welded it in there, and just probably cut out the back side of it before I put it together, and then grind and dressed it to leave it in there. But I think I'm just going to leave this like this for now. I'm happy with that here, a nice corner. At least I got this here. Only the purists to look at that and go, there's been repairs under that door skin. So I'm going to go ahead now and get this all grinded up and show you what it looks like, and get this here trimmed up as well. There it is, all grinded up. Up here now, I turn around, it got a bit thin here, so I cut a piece out of here and welded a little small piece in here to give it a bit more strength. And I just grind it, knocked the head off anything that I felt was high, never bothered with none of this in here. That there is fine where like it is. In here is what you're looking for. When you open the door, you see this belt line coming down and going down underneath the bottom of the door, and you'll see this rotating in underneath here. Now remember, none of this was here, none of this was here, and none of this was here. So after making all this here in 1, 2, 3 pieces, that entire corner. Now, is it factory? This here had a relief coming down here that went in, that had a spot for a lower molding. I'm not putting on it. She also had a triangle piece here to come down with a structural piece that was part of the door. I'm not going to worry about it. I built a lot of them, and this is usually the way they are. That'll be fine for this whole thing. You can get carried away sometimes. The biggest thing for me is when you open up the door and you glance at it, it doesn't look like a big conglomerate mess. I'll just turn around and take that now, put a little bit of filler around that dim little spots there now, coming down around there and coming along there. Give it a scuff, and I can prime that and paint it. That'd be fine. I'll put the factory seam back down along here and along here. So now, we now have an inner door bottom made for this. All made in multiple pieces. It may look cruel to you here, but this is the way you can do it. When you take the door off it, you can clean up all the inside of it, make it all look nice. I'm never concerned about this in here, because you're putting a bottom in the door. If you're restoring a car and it's a rare car, well, it's a different story. But in the case of this one here, I'm looking to make this nice and strong and make it look presentable looking, so that when the average person walks over and walks around the truck and looks at it, they're going to think the truck is in good shape. And it is, because it's all been restored. So now I got this done, I got to work on now putting the bottom in the door. Now, What I'm going to do here first is I'm going to bring this down to here. I'm going to make a little piece to put in this corner here and wrap it around, have it done, so that all I got left with is the large skin. Some would say, let's take this off right up along there and then bend the piece up and put it in there. I'm not getting into that. I'm trying to keep it below this belt line. It's a lot easier to put a small piece in here and have that done. I can grind dress that. I'll do that and I'll butt weld that right in there and grind dress that right nice, and I'll overlap the bottom one down here. I'll bend up a little piece to put the body line back in here, and then I'll weld the lip on the inside here later to actually make the seam look right. So I'm going to go ahead now and get a piece of metal there now and rig up and bend up that piece. So I went ahead and I squared up this hole. I trimmed it up and everything. And I got a piece of 18 gauge here now. And I want to use 18 gauge to butt weld. I always prefer that because it gives me something to grind to and something to weld to. I can weld from this to that, grind from this to that. Because putting 20 gauge into this here and then have to grind it all flush, oh, I'm going to make it too thin. At least this way here now, I'll have this here and there'll be lots of material there. And I went and marked it with a marker. I'm going to go over in the vise now, put a little bend in that. And I'm not going to trim none of this off. I'm going to keep that there so I can hold on to it and hold it in place. And I can actually get that welded in. I tighten that up a bit, but I'll test fit it now and get it so that I'm happy with it. Don't be concerned about it. All I'm concerned about is getting it flush across here, having it flush in here, and having the curvature flush here. Now look, you can look right here and you can see there's some thin metal going on. Now if this was thin metal, I'll be fighting with both of it. At least where this is 18 gauge, I got something solid that I can come off of. I can weld from here and tab up like that with my welder, going along like that, just giving them, because this here is a lot stronger than this metal here. So I'll go ahead now and get this all welded in. There you have it. Brand new. It's a lot easier to do that type of repair than it is to replace the whole bottom of the door. Now I haven't got to worry about that. You can see I had to dig into the bit of filler up here. I can only imagine I would have been into that over here, and then I would have been up into the middle of the door, and we know this truck is full of filler. So anyway, I got that done. I went and tack welded the end on it. Look at everything's open with one finger. I tack welded the end on it. I still have to work this edge here. I have put a lip in here coming from this transition down along here and into this one, but I'm going to put the door skin on first before I go at that. I have one dent over here I got to fix. There's one right here. For some reason, both sides had a little dent like that on both sides. And I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. I'm going to take a piece of angle iron right there, lay that like that, and clamp into it with the vice grips, and use the vice grips to pull the dent out, and using the angle iron to back it. And there's my bottom door section. Have one in stock. Crown Vic approved. amazing how flat black makes everything look so good. She's mint. Get that skin put on there now. There it is, all grind dressed up. You can see the transition coming down there now, going into the other one. A little bit of seam seal around through here now. That'll be brand new. Nice edge there. Nothing's too thick. Flows up. Then it blends off into the bottom of the door. Got it all grinded up. I got the bottom all hammered on, and I went and spot welded a couple of spots along there. I welded the inside in here. Same thing done in there. Got that all hammered on and welded on. That's the other door done, completed. Brand new, good door seams. All down through there. All down through there. All along the bottom. Stand back and look at it. She's mint. It's an original door bottom in that. Oh, and boy, it's not. It is. But, yeah. As you can see, there was nothing left of that door on the bottom side of that. Just take your time, break it up into simple repairs. We're not restoring a one of one here, right? We're building a simple little beater, but we want it to look good and solid. So we can look at this truck now and say this truck is rust free. Well, hang on now. It's rust hole free. Yeah, that's it. All the holes are repaired on the entire body of the truck is done now. All I got left to do in the way of the body is the box. But before I get into the box, I got to do this fella here. Front valance. That's going to be fun. And I got to do the rad support and 2 inner fender welds. So, but I've been busy the week trying to get the Crown Vic going and whatnot. And I come out here late getting started at this, but I had to get something done. There was a lot of work on this door, doing all these repairs, welding this stuff up, cleaning it all off, welding up, patching it here. This door here had a few more patches than the other door, just a scattered few, but it's done now. So I'm pleased with that. I can leave that alone for now, and everything else now is going to be up front here, getting everything done on the nose of her. I was hoping to get more done this week on this truck, but things got in the way. I had other things that had to be done in terms of go get an engine for this and get it running, and that put up a fight. It wasn't like you just go out, throw a battery, it was going to run. So spent a couple of days at that, figuring that out, getting that all ironed out, and then I come out here and worked on this for a couple of days. So I got this door straightened away, and like people ask about time-wise, I'm willing to say do all these repairs on this truck is about 10, 12 hours, I'd say. You know, there's a lot of pieces. Like you think about now the bottom of the door here, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pieces in the bottom of the door. Little small, 7, 8. And then there was 9, 10. And then there was 11. 11 up here. So, and 12, that thing there. Yep. So, it's a lot of patchwork, but that's it. We got more done on us. Next week now we're going to conquer this thing here, I think. I got to get this figured out. I'll talk about that in the next video. You know, I looked into possibly just buying one of them. I'm sorry, people. Shipping and the exchange of the dollar and tariffs and all that type of stuff. it's killing the automotive racket up here. Your best investment is an old wreck car to get sheet metal off of, and a MIG welder. That's your best investment. Anything else? Buying parts. That's for all you guys that live in the States, that shipping don't cost you no money, and the parts are cheap. So people see me building this truck and saying, what is he doing? Just go buy it. Why are you wasting your time on it? Well, it's like this. This truck sits here now. It's a complete body on this truck. I might have $400 in it. Like, it's just wire and grinding discs and cutting wheels. The sheet metal was all free. And time, that's it. There's no great amount of money into this. It's just, I come out here and entertain myself and cut stuff out, weld stuff in. Been doing it for 30 years. And I figured what better way to advertise the channel than to weld up a truck from nothing. Anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one. And until next week, I hope the tips are good. And until next time.